Let me ask you something. Are you renting right now and wondering if you'll ever be able to buy a home in California? You're not alone. A lot of families in their early 20s or 30s feel stuck paying high rent every single month. But here's the truth. Renting keeps your landlord rich, but buying, even with higher prices and interest rates, builds your wealth. And in this video, I'm going to show you how families just like you are buying their first homes in California this year. By the end, you'll know exactly what steps to take, and I'll even share a couple real examples of buyers I've helped. Let's start with why renting feels so frustrating. Renting in California isn't cheap. A 2-bedroom apartment can run $2,800 to $3,500 a month, depending on the city. And guess what? That money is gone forever. No equity, no return, just covering somebody else's mortgage. Now imagine this. If you pay $3,000 a month in rent for the next 5 years, that's $180,000. All of it gone into your landlord's pocket. But if you bought a home, even with a higher monthly payment, part of that money would go to building equity. And over 5 years, that could equate to over $100,000 or more in home equity just from paying your own mortgage instead of renting. That's the difference. Renting equals money lost. Owning equals money saved and wealth built. Here's the biggest myth I've heard. I can't buy because I don't have 20% down. That's simply not true. There are first-time home buyer programs in California that let you buy with 3% down. This is a conventional loan. With FHA, you can do as little as 3.5% down. And if you're a veteran, you don't have to come in with a down payment at all. And with USDA, you can also come in with 0 down. Let's take an $800,000 home in California. With 20% down, that would be $160,000. Most people don't have that, but with 3% down, you'd only need $24,000. That's a huge difference. And California even has down payment assistance programs that can help cover part or even sometimes all of your down payment and closing costs. So don't let the 20% myth stop you. I recently helped a couple in their early 30s with one child. Their combined income was about $150,000. They were paying $3,200 a month in rent. They thought they would never be able to buy a home because they didn't have $160,000 for a down payment. But with 3% down, they only needed about $24,000. We got them pre-approved, connected them with a great agent, and they bought a $780,000 home. Their monthly payment was higher than their rent, but the big difference here was every month they were paying down their own mortgage payment, not their landlord's. And they were building equity at the same time. And just after 1 year, they'll have tens of thousands of dollars in equity. That's how families are doing it in California. I know what you're thinking, but what about interest rates? They're high right now, aren't they? When I first got in the industry about 20 years ago, my mom told me a story that has stuck with me ever since. She and my dad bought their first home back in the 70s. The price on the property was, get this, $40,000. Now that sounds super low today, but back then, even their parents thought that they were crazy for spending that much money on a house. Here's the part that really blew me away. At that time, interest rates were sky high, 10, 12%, and at one point in the early 80s, got over 18%. Getting a loan in the single digits felt almost impossible. But when my mom and dad finally locked in a mortgage under 10%, they were both relieved and excited. To them, they couldn't believe their luck. Fast forward to today, that same house they paid $40,000 for is now worth over $1 million. So here's the lesson. Yes, interest rates today feel high compared to what we saw just a few years ago, but in the bigger picture, they're not the highest we've ever seen. In fact, buyers are still building wealth because real estate values in California have proven time and time again that they grow over the long run. If you're feeling nervous about rates right now, remember my parents' story. They were grateful just to be in the single digits, and now, decades later, that crazy decision looks pretty smart. I also want you to remember you can refinance later when rates drop. What you can't do is go back in time and buy a house at today's price once prices go up. California is still in high demand. People want to live here. Housing inventory is low, and that means prices are staying strong. Waiting might feel safe, but it often ends up costing you more in the long run. All right, so you're renting now, but thinking about buying your first home. Where do you even start? Step 1 is get pre-approved. This is huge. A pre-approval is like the golden ticket. It tells you exactly how much house you can afford and what your monthly payment will look like. Sellers take this more seriously when you're pre-approved because it shows your income, credit, and savings all have been checked. Think about it like this. You're showing up to a game with your uniform on and you're ready to play. play. Step 2, know your numbers. This is about more than just the price of the home. You need to know your down payment, your monthly mortgage payment, your property taxes, your insurance, and the closing costs. Closing costs are usually around 2 to 3% of the price of the home. So on an $800,000 home, that's going to be around $16,000 to $24,000. When you understand these numbers up front, there are no surprises later. Step 3, build your team. Buying a home isn't something you should do alone. You want your mortgage broker, that's me, to walk you through the money side. And you need a real strong real estate agent who knows the neighborhoods, the schools, and how to write an offer that wins. Sometimes you'll also need a home inspector or even a financial advisor. When you've got the right team, it's like having a coach, a playbook, and cheerleaders all on your side. Step 4, make a plan. Even if you're not ready to buy today, that's okay. The smartest thing you can do is create a roadmap. Maybe you need 6 months to save money or 12 months to work on your credit. I can help put together a plan so that you know exactly what you need to do each step of the way. That way, when the right home pops up, you're not scrambling, you're ready. The bottom line, don't wait until the last second to get pre-approved. Start now, get pre-approved, know your numbers, build your team, and create a plan. That's how you go from rent to home ownership with confidence. Now, before we wrap up, let me save you some headache. There are a few big mistakes I see renters make all the time when they're trying to buy a home. Mistake number 1, looking at homes before knowing your budget. I get it, it's fun to scroll through Zillow or drive around looking at homes, but here's the problem. If you don't know your budget, you might fall in love with a home that's way out of reach. That just sets you up for disappointment. Worse, if you make an offer without being pre-approved, sellers won't take you seriously. The smart move is to get your numbers straight first so you know exactly what you can afford. Mistake number 2, waiting for the perfect time. Spoil alert. There isn't such a thing. Interest rates move up and down. Prices go up in some neighborhoods and hold steady in others. If you sit around waiting for the stars to align, you'll probably end up paying more later on or missing out on the right house altogether. The truth is, the best time to buy is when you're ready, financially, emotionally, and personally. Mistake number 3, thinking you need 20% down. This is one of the biggest myths out there. You don't need a huge pile of cash to get started. There are loan programs out there where you can use as little as 3% down or even 0% if you qualify for VA or USDA. There are also down payment assistance programs in California that can help cover closing costs. Don't let the 20% number keep you stuck renting longer than you need to. All right, let's recap. Renting builds your landlord's wealth. Buying builds yours. You don't need 20% down. Programs start as low as 3% down. Real families are buying with smart strategies even in today's market. The sooner you start building equity and long-term wealth. So here's what you need to do next. Book a free 15-minute strategy call with me or my team. We'll look at your income, your savings, and your goals, and we'll give you a clear plan to buy your first home in California. No pressure, just clarity. Click the link in the description or call or text today. And don't forget, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future tips. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.